It was just another regular morning for Marcus, a mechanic who ran his small shop tucked away on a quiet street. His hands, stained with grease and oil, were used to the rhythm of fixing things. Cars, trucks, motorcycles. He fixed them all. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work. He didn't need much. A roof over his head, food on the table, and the satisfaction of a job well done. But one fateful afternoon, that all changed. The rain had been pouring down in sheets, and the street was nearly deserted. Marcus was about to lock up for the day when he heard the sound of a car pulling up. It wasn't the usual beat-up car he was used to fixing. No, this was something different. A sleek, luxury vehicle with a polished black exterior pulled into the garage. Marcus squinted in disbelief. What could someone with a car like that possibly want from his small garage? The door opened, and out stepped a woman dressed in a sharp, professional outfit. Her high heels clicked against the pavement as she walked towards Marcus. She had an air of confidence about her, but there was something in her eyes. Something tired, perhaps even desperate. "Excuse me," she called out, her voice sharp but with a hint of vulnerability. "Are you the mechanic?" Marcus wiped his hands on his worn-out apron and stood up, walking over to meet her. "That's me," he said, his voice calm. "What can I do for you?" She looked at him, clearly frustrated. "I need help with my car. It's making this strange noise, and I need to get it fixed as soon as possible. I have an important meeting to get to." Marcus nodded, his mind already working through the problem. "Let me take a look," he said, walking over to the car. As he opened the hood, he took in the intricate, high-tech components of the car. It wasn't the kind of vehicle he worked on every day, but Marcus was resourceful. He had been fixing cars for years, and no machine was too complex for him. As he worked on the engine, the woman stood by, fidgeting with her phone. Marcus couldn't help but notice how out of place she seemed. Her expensive clothes, her polished look. Everything about her screamed high society, but her eyes were weary. She looked like someone who had been carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. After a few minutes of examining the engine, Marcus found the issue. It wasn't a major fix, just a loose connection that had caused the engine to sputter. He tightened it up, and the car immediately sounded better. "It's all set," Marcus said, stepping back. "Should be good as new." The woman looked at him, her face softening. "Thank you so much. You don't know how much this means to me," she said, her voice almost breaking. "I've been so stressed about this meeting, and I didn't know where else to turn." Marcus waved it off. "No problem." It wasn't a big fix. She glanced down at her phone again, seemingly lost in thought. Marcus could tell she was still distracted, and yet, there was something in her demeanor that made him feel like this moment was more than just a simple car repair. She handed him her credit card, but Marcus shook his head. "No charge. It was a quick fix." She paused, looking at him for a long moment. "You're a rare kind of man," she said quietly, almost to herself. "There aren't many people like you left." Marcus was taken aback. "I'm just doing my job. Nothing special about it." She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "You're not just a mechanic, though. You're different. You care." Before Marcus could respond, she reached into her bag and pulled out a business card. "I'm Rachel Hayes. I run a tech company, and we're looking for someone who's not just about the paycheck, but someone who cares about the work. I think you'd be perfect for it." Marcus blinked. A tech company? He was just a mechanic. What could someone like him possibly offer to a high-powered CEO like her? I, I don't know if I'm the right person for that kind of work," Marcus stammered, still in shock. Rachel smiled again, this time a little more genuinely. "I see something in you, Marcus. A kind of integrity that's hard to find. I'll be in touch." With that, she turned and walked back to her car, her heels clicking against the wet pavement. Marcus watched her drive away, still in a daze. What had just happened? He was a mechanic, just a regular guy. And yet, she had offered him a chance to work for a company that could change his life forever. Days passed, but Marcus couldn't stop thinking about Rachel Hayes and the offer she had made. His small garage felt even smaller now, the clutter of tools and grease-covered machines around him suddenly seeming insignificant. How could he, a simple mechanic, possibly fit into her world, the world of technology, innovation, and wealth? It was a life he had never even imagined, let alone been a part of. He tried to shake the thoughts off. After all, it was just an offer. Something nice that someone had said in passing. People often made promises, but they didn't always follow through. But still, the thought lingered. Every time he saw a new car roll into his garage, his mind would wander back to that moment. He could still hear Rachel's voice in his head. "I see something in you, Marcus." It was late one evening when his phone rang. He had just finished fixing an old truck when the number on the screen caught his eye. It was an unfamiliar number, but something in the back of his mind told him it was Rachel. He hesitated before answering, wiping his hands on his overalls. "Hello? Marcus, it's Rachel Hayes. I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time." He sat up straighter, suddenly aware of how quiet the shop had become. "No, not at all. What's up?" "I wanted to follow up with you," Rachel said, her voice calm yet urgent. "I know this may seem sudden, but I think we really need someone like you. I've been thinking about you ever since we met. The offer still stands if you're interested." Marcus's heart raced. It was real. She wasn't just being polite. She wanted him to be part of her company. But the doubt crept in again. "Rachel, I don't know anything about tech. I've spent my whole life fixing cars." "I know that," she said with a light laugh. "But what you have, Marcus, is something that money can't buy. You have integrity, hard work, and a willingness to learn. That's what I'm looking for." Marcus swallowed hard. This wasn't just about a job anymore. This was about his life changing in ways he couldn't yet comprehend. "What exactly are you offering me? Why don't you come to the office tomorrow and we can talk details? I think you'll be surprised at what we have in mind for you." The next day, Marcus stood in front of the towering glass building that housed Rachel's company. His palms were sweating as he looked up at the sleek structure, wondering if he was in over his head. This wasn't his world. The polished floors, the suits, the tech-driven people. They were all a far cry from the grease-stained overalls and wrenches he was used to. But Marcus wasn't one to back down from a challenge. He had come this far, and he was willing to see where it led. Inside, Rachel greeted him warmly, her smile making him feel just a bit more at ease. She led him through the hallways, past bustling offices filled with people working on computers and discussing projects. Everything felt fast-paced, so different from the calm and quiet world of his garage. "Here we are," she said, stopping in front of a glass-walled conference room. "I'll be honest with you, Marcus. What we do here isn't easy. It's a fast-moving world and things change quickly. But what I see in you, your hands-on experience, your attention to detail, those are the things that set you apart." Rachel motioned for him to sit at the table, and as she did, Marcus couldn't help but notice the stack of papers in front of her. "I don't know if I'm cut out for this," he admitted. "I've spent my whole life fixing engines and cars, not dealing with whatever this is." Rachel nodded, understanding his hesitation. "I know it's a leap, but we don't just want you to fix things, Marcus. We want you to help us innovate. Your skills could be the key to creating products that can change lives. What you know, your experience with mechanical systems, that's something we could use in our technology." Marcus listened intently as Rachel explained how his hands-on knowledge could be valuable in designing new products for the company. They weren't just looking for a tech guru. They needed someone who understood how things worked, someone who could bring a practical, grounded approach to their high-tech world. By the end of the meeting, Marcus was no longer just listening. He was thinking about the possibilities, about what his life could look like if he took this chance. He could leave behind the small shop and enter a world that was bigger than anything he had ever imagined.